Hello everybody, in this video we're going to take a look at tracking down a short in the turn signal wiring on this 2012 Kia Soul. Now apparently what happens is as the vehicle is driven and the turn signals are operated, it just keeps blowing the turn signal fuse. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk you through the steps that we took to track down this failure. Now as we start to get a look at this vehicle came to us from another shop. You can see that they've had quite a bit of trouble with fuses blowing, that kind of stuff. And when we go in here and take a look at the fuse box, you can see the fuse that they've been kind of playing around with. So what we're going to do on this one is we're going to start by taking a look at the wiring diagram and seeing exactly what's on that fuse, and then we'll make some attempts to measure the current on the circuit. So as we take a close-up look at the fuse box here, we can clearly see that the fuse in question is labeled as the turn signal fuse. So next thing up is we're going to take a look at the wiring diagram and just see what's on that circuit. So I just want to go over briefly the circuit that we're talking about here. So we're going to start at the fuse. So if you kind of follow my diagram here, so this is the fuse right here that we're talking about. It goes down through the turn signal multifunction switch into the flasher unit, and then it comes over, back up, and through the instrument panel junction box, and I'm just picking on the right hand side here. The left hand side is similar. We branch out from there and go over to the cluster for the turn signal indicator, and then we come over here to B, and then when we get over here to B, you can see that it goes through a bus bar on the instrument panel junction box, and then it goes out to the various lights that are around the exterior of this vehicle. So basically the turn signal wiring kind of snakes all over the vehicle from the instrument panel, which may mean this is going to be kind of hard to track down, but that's what we're dealing with. So our next step here is to record the vehicle while driving, and this is the setup we used. We used a resettable circuit breaker. You can kind of see it hanging off the side of the steering wheel there, and we patched that into the turn signal fuse circuit so we could monitor current on the circuit while we were driving the vehicle and watching current on a lab scope. And then we measured that with the low amps probe. So what we've got here basically is the whole circuit's being monitored with a low amps current probe using a resettable circuit breaker so we don't blow a bunch of fuses, and we're going to monitor on the scope, and then the next thing up is to take the vehicle for a road test and see what happens. So we road tested the vehicle for probably a half an hour or so, and we never did get the thing to act up. You can see from the scope shot here that the current really never exceeded 5 amps. The current spike that you see kind of in just to the left of the center of the screen was from me turning from left to right, which basically when the bulbs are cold they have lower resistance, so it takes a split second for them to warm up. That's absolutely normal, but at no point during the road test did we see anything that would indicate a short in the wiring of this vehicle. So after driving this vehicle for approximately a half an hour, we couldn't get it to act up. So we noticed earlier as we were kind of doing a visual on this vehicle that it had an aftermarket trailer hitch and wiring installed on it. So if you take a look at this, you can see here they've just basically run the trailer wiring in behind the bracket, which is metal, so is the license plate. So we decided to take a closer look at how they installed the wiring and that kind of stuff, just to make sure that everything was done properly there, as it is the only aftermarket accessory we can see added to this vehicle. So as I was inspecting this thing, I saw this wire kind of hanging down close to the tailpipe. Anyway, to make a long story short, I moved it so I could get a better look at it, and sure enough, there was a bad spot in the wiring. So what started out as probably what I thought was going to be a complicated repair actually turned out to be something quite simple. If you like this video, please let us know by following us or liking us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And if you want access to more in-depth training videos, please visit our website at www.autoaide.ca. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video.